But the thing that shocks me so much about Fury Wilder was I knew, because I spoke to Fury, he didn't want to fight anyone with a pulse, right? And that's why I never thought that fight would happen.
Yes. It's Raphael Dawkins, Combat Radio, with another one. And today, we're talking about the cherry pick gone wrong. Now, I was the one to coin that phrase regarding the fight Wilder v. Fury 1. I called it the cherry pick gone wrong, referring to Wilder's habit of cherry picking fighters who were outside of the top 10 and then who miraculously appear in the WBC top 10 and then announcing to the world that he's fighting a top 10 fighter, a fighter who has been conveniently placed there by the WBC once they had been notified of Team Wilder's desire. So I call that fight the cherry pick gone wrong, because it went wrong for Wilder. But here we delve into that a little more deeply. Let me play that clip again.
The thing that shocks me so much about Fury Wilder was I knew, because I spoke to Fury, he didn't want to fight anyone with a pulse, right? And that's why I never thought that fight would happen.
Okay, so Eddie Hearn is referring to Tyson's comeback. Now, when Tyson was on his decided to come back, he contacted Eddie Hearn. And Eddie Hearn wanted him to have a warm-up fight and then fight Joshua. Wilder said no, he would need several warm-up fights before he fought Joshua. So, Eddie Hearn came up with a list. 3 warm-up fights and then the Joshua fight. I'm going from memory. Now, the third person on that list, the last person before the Joshua fight, was, if memory serves me right, it was Dillian Whyte. So, Dillian Whyte would have been the third person on the list, and Anthony Joshua would have been the fourth. That was the fight that Joshua Hearn wanted to make. So, apparently, the list, first and foremost, Fury ultimately declined. Fury declined to take the offer with those fighters on the list from Eddie. And apparently the pay was attractive. He was getting well paid for fighting 2 low-ranking fighters, and then well paid for fighting Whyte, and then would come the Joshua fight. Now, Fury declined, and ultimately, if memory serves, Team Fury released some details of Eddie's proposals. Now, this is from memory, so if anybody's got the links to those, please let me know. Forward them to me. Contact me. Now, Fury decided to sign with Frank Warren after not liking the proposals from Eddie. Now, we know something about that deal because Fury went on to fight two either low-ranking or no-ranking fighters on his warm-up trail, on his comeback trail. These were low-ranking to no-ranking fighters. People were dissatisfied, unhappy with his fight selection and the fights themselves. And then out of the blue, Fury announced, along with Wilder, that he'd be fighting for the World Championship, WBC belt. We were all shocked and astonished that he had gone from fighting low-rank, no-rank fighters to going up against the devastating puncher in Deontay Wilder. It seemed to make no sense. Couldn't figure it out. But then as it sunk in, we started to give Fury from no chance to a little bit of a chance. We started to be optimistic. I myself said in a recorded call on a different channel, I should dig that out. I myself said that Fury had no chance. I changed my mind to Fury could outbox Wilder. Potentially, optimally, if everything went his way. It was possible. Unlikely, but possible. So, the fight happened. And Fury did very well. I thought he outboxed Wilder. But then when you look at the stats, we see that the punches landed were very similar. There wasn't that much of a margin. Okay. And then we have to factor in the Fury got dropped twice. So that makes that a very, very close fight. Very close. Okay. Now we come back to the clip. Fury, it is said, was not interested in tough fights. Hearn says he wasn't interested in fighting anyone with a pulse on the comeback trail. That's why he was so shocked that in his third fight back, he opted for Wilder. So now, we have to think, we have to consider, we have to work our brains and figure out why did Fury opt to fight Wilder in his third fight back? And why has he put himself in a situation where that fight has now become difficult? So we have to be logical. We have to say why. And I have an hypothesis. Fury went into the Wilder fight thinking that Wilder couldn't touch him. He was too slick for Wilder. He would outbox him. He would leave Wilder bemused, confused and bemused. Wilder would be at 6s and 7s, all fingers and thumbs. Fury believed that Wilder would not touch him. But he got dropped twice. So it is my hypothesis that after a while of sitting back, after initially wanting a rematch, Fury sat back, figured it out. Fury's never had a rematch. Oh yes, he had one rematch with Chisora, did well. But then with Wilder, Wilder had a rematch also with Stavern, and he came back clinical, more accurate, more devastating. Fury knows that Wilder was swinging wild in their fight. Fury knows Wilder did not stick to the game plan. The game plan was to go low, then go high. Go to the body before going to the head. But instead, Wilder couldn't stick to the game plan. He was in his emotions. He was swinging over the top, literally over the top of Fury's head. Now, it is my hypothesis that Fury sat back and thought, well, the chances are Wilder is going to come back and actually stick closer to the game plan. Wilder's going to go low to the body and then go high. But instead of going over the top, Wilder might be more accurate, correct his mistake, recalibrate his sights, and when he goes high, connect. Early and often. And if that happened, that would be a clear loss for Fury. If Wilder recalibrated, came in more composed, which is likely, came in more accurate, which is likely. And so, Hearn said that Fury was dealing with him directly. Let's put the pieces together, ladies and gentlemen. Hearn was dealing with him directly. And after he signed with Warren, Fury came back to Hearn after the Wilder fight. He came back to Hearn directly. No middleman. Messaged him. What can we do? What's the numbers? Give me a breakdown. Me versus Joshua. What's the numbers? Give me a breakdown. No middleman. Fury made that call. So, it is not beyond the realms of possibility or probability that Fury contacted ESPN. Frank Warren kind of slipped up in the press conference or after the press conference in an interview when he said that Fury let him know about the ESPN deal, or ESPN let him know that they were talking to Fury. So, it is not beyond the realms of possibility or probability that Fury was the one who initiated the deal. Fury himself. Not Warren, but Fury. And if Fury initiated the deal, knowing that it would be difficult for Wilder to go across the road and fight on ESPN, an Al Heyman fighter crossing the road to fight on a Bob Arum promotion. Fury would have known this would be highly difficult. So the question has to be asked. If Fury knew how difficult it would be for Wilder to cross the road, if Fury knew how difficult it would be for Joshua to cross the road, from Matchroom, Dan's, Sky to ESPN, the question has to be asked. Why? Knowing the difficulties, why? If Fury wanted the top fights, why would he do that? Why would he go to a place that was difficult for any other top fighter, the other top two fighters, to reach? Did Fury, by putting his signature on that ESPN contract, act knowingly and willingly? Did Fury put a moat between himself and the other top two? Did Fury put a moat between himself and the other top two and then pull up the drawbridge? Is that what happened? It's a question. It's a question, ladies and gentlemen. It has to be asked. Has to be asked. One last time.
But the thing that shocked me so much about Fury Wilder was I knew, because I spoke to Fury, he didn't want to fight anyone with a pulse, right? And that's why I never thought that fight would happen. But now,
get in the comment section, ladies and gentlemen. I'm intrigued. It's an intriguing one. I want to hear your responses. Did Fury put a moat between himself and the other two top fighters in the heavyweight division? It's Raphael Dawkins. It's Combat Radio. Like, comment, subscribe, and share. And I'm out.